Let's get back to the BNN top line right now. That, of course, soaring home prices spell pain for so many would-be condo buyers. To talk about the health of the condo market, joining us now is an industry veteran with more than 20 years of experience, initially as a real estate broker and now as a developer as well. Brad Lamb joins us. He is the CEO of Lamb Development. Brad, good to be with you. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about this. We focus so much on the single-family home, but what we're really looking at today is the condo market as well, and seeing that those prices also continue to increase and essentially price people out of the market. What are you seeing?
Well, the markets are connected. So, basically, new freehold starts have plummeted. New freehold sales and starts are down to record lows, and overall new sales of detached and we'll say single-family homes and condos the line is falling about 5 or 6% a year. So we're selling and building less homes now overall than we were doing that 15 years ago. So we have a problem with supply. So because there's such a shortage of detached and semi-detached homes in the GTA, the price have risen to incredibly high levels, and that's drawn up the condo market, which is also the supply is being pinched now as well. We can't. The time to build a condo has gone from 4 years to 6 years.
Why?
Well, there's no easy sites anymore. So large parking lots that you could buy don't exist anymore. So now you have to do assemblies. An assembly can take a year. It could take 20 years to buy all the different parts of a block. And so that's slowing the supply of housing. And the city is the province has reduced the number of chairs at the OMB. So it's made a longer period to get to the OMB, a longer period to if you don't agree with the zoning decision at the city level, it takes long to get to the OMB. And the planning department in the city is overwhelmed. There's a lot of jobs, a lot of things to look at, and they're not getting to it as fast as they should, so it's delaying projects.
So
everything's
supply
shortage.
Delayed. Yeah. So we already have known and talked so much about the lack of supply in the housing market, and what I'm hearing from you is, given all those different dynamics, expect to see a continuation of a lack of supply in condo markets. So I'm essentially hearing that the prices are going to continue to move a lot higher.
Right now, the supply of resale condominiums in Toronto is down 20% over last year.
Hard to believe.
And
when we look at all these buildings.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look in the core, there are very few buildings under construction right now. Most are being finished. There's only 3 or 4 ones that have started in the last 4 or 5 months, and there's not much behind that. There's actually going to be a shortage.
Brad, let me ask you this, though. With respect to the slowdown of construction of new condo buildings, when I was looking at this maybe 6 months ago, and there were more concerns about the economy and banks, not only exposure to energy, of course, but to housing, I thought it was reflective perhaps of banks getting a little bit more tougher with developers.
No.
No.
In Ontario, lending for high-rise has never been easier.
Really?
It's hard out west. It's not hard here.
Okay. So, with respect to how you build your business, how are you approaching this? With the fact that you've got lack of supply, are you increasing the prices? Are you trying to get more land developed faster by beating out the competition somehow? What do you do?
Well, we're doing both. So, my company has 8 new projects in the GTA that we started a year ago, and so over the next 3.5 years, we're releasing 8 new projects. About 1,600 units, and we are raising prices. Prices.
You are?
Yes, prices are up about 15% in the condo market last year. Like the healthiest increases I've ever seen in that period of time.
Who's buying them? What are you seeing?
Well, there's 2 markets. So there's the new market. The new market is largely driven by investors. Probably 60% of. No one has the exact numbers. In my projects, it's about 50% of our new condo stock is bought by investors, and the other half is bought by end users. But the resale market is predominantly end users. People trying to get into a home, whether it's a 500 square foot 1-bedroom or a 2,000 square foot penthouse.
With respect to the investors, what percentage of that 50% would be foreigners?
Well, it's hard. It's actually hard to quantify. What foreigners are quite adept at doing is finding someone who they can connect to in Canada. It's either a relative or a friend, and they can cycle money to them and have someone buy more or less as the face of the purchase. And that is happening. It's hard to say what percentage it is, but my personal feeling is that about a quarter. Empirically, it's hard to follow, right? It's just a sense I get. I think it's close to a quarter of condominiums sold, new condominiums sold,
Right.
are being financed by foreign money.
Okay. For the people who are buying them to live in for end use, what are you seeing? Are they first-time home buyers that just can't buy a single detached home, or are they baby boomers downsizing or retirees downsizing? Where is that demand coming from?
It's everything. So we have parents buying small apartments for their kids. There's a lot of that happening. Giving them a down payment, also co-signing a mortgage so they can qualify. Maybe their income's not high enough. And then we see young couples that are struggling to get into the housing market, like the single-family home market, buying a condominium for a period of years until they can save and maybe make some equity in the condo purchase. And then we're seeing people downsizing from large homes into large condos. We're seeing people downsizing from small homes to small condos. It's everything. The market is very, very healthy. Although, it's healthy from the standpoint of foreign investors, local investors, and Canadians wanting to buy homes.
Interesting. Brad, with respect to some rules of thumb for condos, what is the percentage of maintenance? What's the percentage that you should be paying for maintenance fees as it relates to the value of the condo that you buy, and then also parking lots? I understand there's a couple different rules of thumbs.
Yeah. So condominium fees now around 50 to 60 cents per square foot. So you're probably looking at about 10% of the cost of living.
Okay.
Maybe 8% in a condo. And as for parking, parking is becoming irrelevant. We are actually having trouble with the city mandates a certain amount of parking in a project. We're always fighting for less, and even when we get them to agree to less, it's still too much. It's very difficult to sell parking for anything under 700 or 800 square feet.
Okay. And last question: a sales per square foot. What's the average here, or average in terms of what people are buying?
Yeah. So if you were to launch a new condo project in and around your studio here, you'd be $750 a foot on average, up from about $650 a year ago.
Okay. Brad, great to see you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
A lot of information.